Welcome to Sport as a Show, How Entertainment Shaped the Working Class. I'm Jonathan Tunney, your host and moderator, and today we're exploring one big idea. Sport has never been just a game, it has always been a show designed for ordinary working class people. For most of history, the working class didn't have much control over politics, wealth, or social mobility, but they did have sport. Stadiums, arenas, and fields became places where everyday people could escape long workdays, find community, and experience spectacle on a scale they couldn't get anywhere else. Whether it was ancient Rome or modern America, rulers, promoters, and teams understood something simple. If you give the working class a great show, you win their loyalty, attention, and imagination. In this episode, we're tracing how that show has evolved over time. We begin with Peter Bungart, who takes us to ancient Rome, where gladiator games offered working class crowds violence, spectacle, and political theater. These events were designed to entertain the masses and distract them. Next, Ryan Kelley jumps to the 20th century to explore how professional leagues built all star games as entertainment products, turning athletes into celebrities and giving working class fans a glamorous spectacle they could buy into. Then I'll take us through the story of the Harlem Globetrotters, a team that blended showmanship and athletic excellence to captivate working class audiences across segregated America, proving that sport as entertainment can also push society forward. Finally, Chris Ogrin brings us to the present with the Savannah Bananas, a team that reinvented baseball by transforming it into a full scale performance for today's working class fans who want excitement, humor, and community more than traditional rules. Across time, the pattern is clear. Sport becomes most powerful when it becomes a show, especially for the working class. Let's get started. To open our journey, we turn to Peter Bungart, who takes us back nearly 2,000 years to ancient Rome, a world where gladiator games were the ultimate show for the working class. Peter will break down how these brutal spectacles weren't just fights, but carefully crafted performances used to entertain, distract, and unify everyday Romans. Peter, take it away.
Pictured a packed stadium, roaring crowds, shared excitement, people escaping daily stress. It feels modern, but it is also ancient Rome. Like today, ancient sports were entertainment and emotional release. But in Rome, they also preserved social order and political control. This episode looks how gladiator games shape Roman life, how they evolved from Greek traditions, and how why they feel so familiar today. Gladiators were both slaves and volunteers, and were trained fighters who embodied Roman courage and discipline. Donald Kyle, from Spectacles of Death in Ancient Rome, notes they became admired figures, much like modern athletes. Rome leaders such as Caesar, Augustus, and Trajan used games strategically. When political tensions rose, they staged massive festivals to unify and distract the people. Caesar once uh, prepared 320 pairs of gladiators, and Trajan hosted 123 days of games. For the plebeians, the working class, the arena offered rare excitement and a sense of influence. Kyle emphasizes this that cheering crowds felt both empowered and contained within this controlled environment. To understand Rome's twist of spectacles, we look to Greece. Greek athletic festivals, like the Olympics, honored the gods and celebrated personal excellence. Alison Fertel explains that Rome borrowed this framework but turned it into political theater, celebrating not athletes, but the empire's power over life and death. The major shift from Greek to Roman was was purpose. Greek sports honored athletes and the gods. Roman games entertained and distracted the masses. Juvenile satires mocked citizens who saying they only cared for bread and circuses. Fertel argued that the games displayed imperial power, with the emperor deciding life and death from his seat. Kyle adds that the crowd participated emotionally, but always within boundaries and kept public frustration safely contained. Were the games joyful cultural events or political distraction? Kyle and Frutel suggest they were both. This matters today because modern sports play a similar role. Stadiums, sponsors, national symbols, and political leaders at big games. Spectacles still create unity and sometimes distraction. The emotional power is real, but so is the potential for shifting public attention away from deeper issues. As Juvenal warned, societies risk valuing comfort and spectacles over engagement. Yet shared excitement also connects us across time. When we cheer for a team, we join a tradition stretching back to ancient arenas filled with dust, blood, and echoing voices.
Thanks for that analysis, Peter. One thing that you said that struck me was how the Romans had a much more violent style of sport than the Greeks. Why did Rome shift from Greek athletic excellence to this violent spectacle?
Well, Rome valued power, dominance, and public display, and spectacles allowed the state to showcase wealth and control. They reshaped Greek tradition to fit Roman political and cultural identity.
Thank you. Now, do you feel that this unity through entertainment is a positive, or does it come at a cost?
I'd say both. Shared spectacle builds community, but it also distracts from inequality and disengages people from civic life. It has a cost, but awareness is a key when looking at it.
Thanks, Peter. I feel I'm not too much of a world history expert myself, so I really found your comments today insightful about the ancient history of sports.
Thank you.
Now, that was a great look at how spectacles shaped the lives of everyday Romans, but now we're going to move forward all the way to the 20th century. Ryan Kelley is going to take us into the rise of modern all-star games, moments when leagues turn sport into pure entertainment for the working class, transforming athletes into icons and games into full-scale events. Ryan, you're up.
Imagine this. It's July 6th, 1933. The Great Depression is in full swing. Money's tight, spirits are low. But at Comiskey Park in Chicago, more than 47,000 fans pack the stands. They're not there for a World Series game. They're there to see Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and the biggest stars in baseball take the field together on the same team for the first time ever. That night, something brand new was born, the All-Star Game. What started off as a one-off morale boost became one of sports' greatest traditions. The first Major League Baseball All-Star Game took place on July 6, 1933, at Chicago's Comiskey Park, right in the heart of the Depression. The idea came from Chicago Tribune editor Arch Ward, who wanted to give ordinary Americans a reason to celebrate again. For just one day, workers, families, and fans struggling through economic despair could escape into something bigger, the best of the best sharing one field. The game wasn't just entertainment, it was an escape. It showed how sports could lift national morale and connect people when times were hard. As America recovered, other leagues adopted the idea. The NBA launched its first All Star game in 1951 at the Boston Garden, partly to bring fans back after gambling scandals hurt the league's image. The NHL began its All Star game in 1947, and the NFL introduced their Pro Bowl in 1951. Each league tapped into the same working class audience, fans who saw sports as a break from long hours, low wages, and daily pressures. The All Star game turned athletes into heroes, and the weekend became a celebration of skill, pride, and national unity. As TV and media coverage grew, so did the entertainment factor. Leagues realized that fans wanted more than a game, they wanted a show. Baseball gave us the Home Run Derby, celebrating pure power. The NBA created the slam dunk and 3-point contests, turning stars into entertainers. The NHL added a skills competition, mixing fun with performance. All of these events blurred the line between sport and spectacle. The All Star game evolved from a contest for bragging rights into a showcase for excitement, tailor made for fans who looked to sports for joy and community after the grind of the work week. Fast forward to today, and the All Star game spark is fading. Ratings are down, players rest instead of compete, and fans often call the games pointless. For working class fans who once saw these events as something special, the All Star game can now feel commercialized and disconnected. Leagues are trying to fix that. The NHL attempted to replace its All Star weekend with a new four nations face off last year, hoping real competition will draw fans back. Following the success of this tournament, the NBA is now considering a USA versus the world matchup to reignite pride and intensity. The message is clear. Fans still crave the emotional lift that sports once gave, not just entertaining, but meaning. The All Star game was born from the same spirit that drives sports for the working class: escape, unity, and joy. In 1933, it offered a break from hardship, a chance to cheer, forget the factory floor, and feel a part of something bigger. Even as today's games evolve into global spectacles, their purpose remains the same: to entertain, unite, and remind everyday fans that greatness can still bring people together. In that way, the All Star game is more than just an exhibition, it's a reflection of how sports have always been America's stage for hope and belonging.
Yeah, love that, Ryan. Especially the part about the Midsummer Classic, the first MLB All-Star game, was especially entertaining for me. I mean, I've always loved tuning in. It's right around my birthday personally. But why do you think that that first All-Star game mattered so much to working class Americans?
I think it gave the people something joyful in a time of despair. Baseball was affordable, familiar, and shared across class lines. And the All Star game just turned all of that into a celebration that everyone could be a part of.
Yeah. Now, tell me, like, just personally, which one of these All-Star games has been your favorite, or do you think does the best job of keeping the fans entertained? My personal opinion is the Four Nations face-off. I mean, I remember how fired up people were for that, and I thought it was just incredible. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I think turning the All Star game into an international event where the players are competing for their home countries is just like a new motivation that they haven't had in past. And so I think that the future of the All Star game may trend in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for it this year. I know I'm going to tune in, and I don't even watch that much hockey. They're doing a good job keeping the interest in it, but there's some people who just don't really see the meaning in the All-Star game anyways. Do you think that it's possible that this contingent's going to grow and that the All-Star game may disappear altogether?
Yeah, I do think that the format may continue to change. I don't think it's gonna like vanish outright or anything, but I think instead of just the like goofy exhibitions that the All-Star game has become, it's gonna start to trend towards those meaningful events such as the Four Nations face off. Uh, because there's so many other things that like goofy exhibition events, like for example, the Harlem Globetrotters that have been taking over the world for some time now. And to keep building on that idea, I'm going to pass it back to our host, Jonathan Tunney, who's taking us into the world of the Harlem Globetrotters, a team that blended showmanship, skill, and storytelling to captivate working class audiences across the country. Jonathan, the floor is yours.
I appreciate that intro, Ryan. So, when people think of the Harlem Globetrotters today, and I'll talk about them a little later, they picture comedy, trick shots, and fancy dribble moves. But to really understand the Globetrotters as a spectacle for the working class, you have to go back to when they started, traveling city to city, playing in tiny gyms, armories, and community centers filled with working class families who desperately needed entertainment they could actually afford. The Globetrotters were born in the 1920s, and right from the beginning, their audience wasn't elites or corporate sponsors. It was everyday Americans. They barnstormed through small towns, mining regions, immigrant neighborhoods, military bases, and union halls, all places that rarely saw live entertainment, much less high level basketball. Their crowds were farmers, factory workers, longshoremen, waitresses, and kids whose parents just scraped together a few bucks for them to get tickets. What made the Globetrotters so special wasn't just basketball skill, even though they were some of the best players in the world. It was that they understood exactly what working class audiences wanted: a show, something joyful, something funny, something that made them forget how hard life was. Their mix of sport and theater, clowning, ball handling magic, choreographed pranks was designed to bring entertainment to people who didn't have access to the Broadway shows, the professional leagues, or big city nightlife. And we see this clearly in primary historical resources, so you don't just have to take my word for it. In their 1958 European tour brochure, for example, the Globetrotters are almost presented like ambassadors of fun, performing in front of crowds who had often never seen basketball before. This correlates with photos of their 1952 World Tour. It shows bleachers full of audiences lining the streets for an outdoor game, presumably open for all. These weren't wealthy crowds, they were everyday people coming out for a rare moment of excitement. And yet, despite being entertainers, the Harlem Globetrotters were also symbols of aspiration. In a time when America was segregated, working class black audiences saw something powerful. Black athletes traveling the world, celebrated, applauded, and welcomed as stars. A photo from the 1931 New York League collection shows them suited up, confident, and world ready at a time when mainstream society denied black excellence. Their performances told working class audiences, especially marginalized audiences, that joy belonged to them too. Even today, the Globetrotters carry this role of being a spectacle, a main event for the working class. I'm happy to announce that the Harlem Globetrotters are coming to my hometown, Saginaw, Michigan, on January 2nd, 2026. While I'll be there since I'm in town over break. Saginaw, Michigan is a former General Motors town in the Midwest. It's a lot closer to Toledo than Toronto. When the Globetrotters are in the building, it isn't just a basketball game, it's an event, a communal moment where people can laugh together, cheer together, and feel like they're part of something special. Ultimately, that's what makes the Harlem Globetrotters a true working class spectacle. They bring showmanship where showmanship doesn't exist. They brought joy to communities that rarely got it. And they prove that sport, when blended with performance, can speak to the hopes, pressures, and humor of ordinary people everywhere.
Well said, Jonathan. I just got a few things. I guess, like, what do you think the Globetrotter, like, why were they such a powerful spectacle for the working class audiences, do you think?
Well, I think it's because of their unique combination. Like, not only were they better than the average men's league game or, the average amateur league that's happening around town, they also offer high quality entertainment. And combining those things with an affordable price point, and people in these small towns are going to show out. Um, it wasn't for the big leagues kind of ignored these small class towns while the Harlem Globetrotters uplifted them. They gave working class people a front row seat to elite talent and comedy. They filled a cultural gap and they were rewarded for it with massive crowds.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense how they're looking at different audiences. How do you think, like, the style of play specifically appeals to the working class fans?
Yeah, I think a lot of working class fans, they connect the Harlem Globetrotters to just kind of that local game down at the playground. The trick passes, the improvisation. It mirrors the energy of just like a casual game at the park. It's entertainment rooted in everyday humor and creativity. It's not, elite refinement or, showing all my fancy dribble moves. It's different than that. It has a different style. Working class fans understand this, and that's why they're so connected to it.
Do the international tours still have that same idea of uh, working towards the working class?
Yeah, absolutely. Even though, they're all around the world, they are the Globetrotters after all. They don't forget their roots. So whether it be in Europe, Asia, or the Middle East, the crowds are going to be packed with stadiums that are overwhelmingly workers, students, soldiers, families, not the elites. The Trotters, they make a conscientious effort to, keep their price point affordable for their fans. And they often play in, non-traditional arenas. Sometimes they're in local community gyms. Like that's where they're going to be at in Saginaw. It's just a local event center. They'll play in public squares. They played outdoors, as I mentioned in the photo earlier. So, not only are they keeping the price point affordable, but they're actually coming to that working class audience.
Wow, that's really interesting. Last one for you here. Why do you think the Globetrotters still matter today in conversations about sport as entertainment?
Well, they're kind of the pioneers of like this, scripted, we're really just going to come out and say that this sport is a performance. And they've passed the torch now to different sports. Modern teams like the Savannah Bananas are following their blueprint. The Globetrotters prove that if you can give the working class fans a great show, they'll build a culture around it. And the Savannah Bananas have taken that and ran with it in the modern day. And that actually brings us right into our final topic. The Savannah Bananas, the modern heirs to the tradition, are cranking the entertainment dial all the way up. So, to walk us through on how the Bananas turned baseball into a full scale working class spectacle fit for the modern era and into the future, I'm going to pass it over to Chris Ogrin.
Thank you, Jonathan. Last but not least, the Savannah Bananas. Baseball has long been called America's pastime, but for over a century, it has been largely shaped by tradition, slow pace, and a culture that often caters to older, wealthier fans. But what happens when a sport becomes so tied to tradition that it stops being accessible and stops being fun for everyone else? Founded in 2016, the Savannah Bananas flipped that script. What began as a small, low-budget Coastal Plain League team turned into a global phenomenon. They've sold out every game since their first season, built a wait list of over 500,000 people, and gone viral across social media. Their mission, fans first, entertain always, isn't just branding. It's a deliberate push to make baseball a show that anyone can enjoy, regardless of class, age, or attention span. Instead of relying on expensive stadium experiences or traditional baseball culture, the Bananas built something far more democratic, a spectacle designed for working class families, casual fans, and people who might never watch a regular baseball game, but will show up for fun, humor, and community. So, who made this possible? It begins with Jesse and Emily Cole. Their commitment was extreme. They famously sold their house just to keep the team afloat, but that risk allowed them to reimagine what baseball could be. To break the exclusivity and slow tradition of the sport, they invented Banana Ball, a version of baseball built to remove the barriers that shut many people out. This game includes 11 unique rules designed to eliminate downtime, accelerate the pace, and maximize entertainment. Some of these rules include no bunting, and my personal favorite is the rule that when a fan catches a foul ball, it is counted as an out. This directly involves the fans within the competition and allows them to make plays that impact the game itself. This is something we certainly don't see in traditional baseball. Along with this, traditional baseball can feel long and inaccessible, but Banana Ball is the complete opposite. It is intentionally fast, loud, and easy to follow. The goal isn't purity, it's participation. It's creating a space where working class families and younger fans don't need deep baseball knowledge or expensive tickets to feel included. The Bananas didn't just rewrite the rules of the sport, they rewrote who the sport is for. However, all decisions were not easy, and the biggest conflict came in 2022 when the Bananas made the bold decision to leave the amateur Coastal Plain League to focus solely on Banana Ball as an independent team. This was a direct rejection of the traditional minor league structure and sparked backlash from fans and media who feared they were abandoning real baseball. The organization also faced serious financial pressure. Their decision to decline a $1 million ticket broker offer because accepting it would have doubled ticket prices for fans revealed how deeply committed they were to keeping this experience affordable for working class families. Very few sports teams would ever sacrifice profit at that scale, and it highlighted the tension between traditional revenue models and their fan-first mission. Despite criticism and financial risk, the Bananas stayed fully committed to their vision, and that commitment ultimately paid off. All in all, the Bananas successfully navigated their risky pivot. Concerns about losing real baseball faded quickly, and the team's popularity has only grown. Their success is the result of a powerful combination of mission, culture, and leadership, each centered on access, community, and entertainment rather than tradition or exclusivity. In a sports world dominated by profit and tradition, the Bananas proved that the most radical thing you can do is make something genuinely fun and genuinely accessible. By putting their mission first, the Bananas proved that you can disrupt an old exclusive industry by prioritizing fans, especially working class fans who are often left out of traditional sports experiences.
Yeah, I mean they're huge now. They're like on ESPN and everything. I saw some about the draft the other day. I mean, they're big now. I just got one question for you. So to turn down a $1 million ticket broker deal, that affects everybody in the organization. I mean, the players are going to get less. The guy that's, handing out hot dogs is going to get less. I have to assume that everybody from the organization was affected by that deal. Yet they're still going strong. So tell me, why did they turn it down? How were they able to get that done? And what does that say about their values?
Yeah, that's a great question. I believe they declined this $1 million deal because accepting it would have doubled ticket prices for fans, which goes directly against their fans' first mission. The organization believed that raising prices would make the experience less accessible, especially for these working class families who are at the heart of what the Bananas are trying to build. Turning that kind of guaranteed, turning down that kind of guaranteed profit shows just how seriously they take their values, as they're willing to sacrifice revenue if it means protecting the fan experience. Very few sports teams at any level are willing to make that choice, and it's one of the clearest examples of how the Bananas put people before profit.
Yeah, it's refreshing. It's refreshing here. It's definitely something that you don't hear about all the time in the modern age. So thank you, Chris. And with that, we've traced a long arc from ancient Roman arenas all the way to the Savannah Bananas. And one thing has stayed constant. Sport becomes most meaningful when it becomes a show for the working class. Whether it was gladiators thrilling Roman crowds, all-star games giving everyday fans a taste of glamour, the Harlem Globetrotters bringing laughter and excellence to communities overlooked by mainstream sports, or the Bananas reinventing baseball for modern audiences, the pattern is unmistakable. Working class people have always been the heartbeat of sport. They're the ones who fill the seats, create the culture, and turn games into rituals that matter. At every point in history, promoters, athletes, and teams have understood that if you want to reach people, really reach them, you have to give them a show. Something joyful, something communal, something worth coming together for. And that's why sport endures. For the working class, it has always been more than competition. It's been escape, identity, entertainment, and belonging. A shared spectacle that makes life just a little bit bigger for everyone who watches. And with that, I'm Jonathan Tunney, and from all of us here on the Sport as a Show podcast, thank you for listening.